Hello, I chose to teach about break-even analysis today, and I couldn't get the Excel sheet to open for me, so I decided to use Creative Cakes as my example. As you're figuring out break-even points, I don't think it really matters which business as long as you have the formulas correct. So first I started with the break-even point units. And in order to, well, for both of the analysis, both the break-even points in sales dollar and break-even point in units, you need to figure out the fixed costs. I calculated the fixed costs by summing all of the expenses except the advertising costs, because advertising costs are dependent on revenues and are variable. So I wanted to make sure I only included the fixed costs as it says to use the fixed costs. And then the revenue per unit for break-even point for units is the revenue in cake sales. And then the variable costs are the cost of goods sold. So in order to figure out the break-even point in units, I used the fixed costs divided by revenue per unit minus variable cost per unit. And as you can see, here's the formula up here. And the break-even point was 1.06. So when they sell a little bit more than one cake, they are breaking even, which is pretty good for a business to have your break-even point be near the costs and things of everything. The second break-even point analysis I did was a break-even point in sales dollar. And so I used this fixed cost again, the 497, and then I divide it by the contribution margin. And the contribution margin in this case is the price of the product, which is the average cake price, minus the variable cost, which is the cake cost, which are up here in the assumptions. And the break-even point in sales was 31.4 cents. So what this is telling us is that when the cake costs $31.04, then the business is breaking even. So their average cake price is slightly lower than the break-even point. They could increase, for example, if you did even 50 cents, you can see that now the break-even point is $3.10. So they could increase their cake prices slightly, but it's not really necessary. Seems like Creative Cakes has done a pretty good job of pricing their cakes and paying attention to their costs so that their break-even point is close to their actual cake price. Hopefully this helps explain break-even analysis, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks!